The Versace stiletto struck Zara's temple before her brain could process the blur of designer leather arcing through the air. She went down hard, her body slamming into the crystal display of Christmas angels, glass exploding around her like frozen tears as her head cracked against the marble floor of Dynasty Galleria. Blood bloomed hot against her cheekbone. The metallic taste flooded her mouth. For 3 heartbeats, Seoul's most exclusive shopping district held its breath. Zara blinked through the haze of pain at the man towering above her, his handsome face contorted with the kind of disgust usually reserved for something scraped off a shoe. Devin fucking Hartwell, the man who'd abandoned her pregnant and penniless in a Chicago winter 3 years ago. The man who drained their joint account and blocked her number the same night. The man who'd left her so broken, she'd lost their baby at 5 months because she couldn't afford food, let alone prenatal care. Pathetic, Devin spat, his accent still carrying that fake British lilt he'd adopted to sound more sophisticated. Still dressing like poverty even in a place like this. Some things never change. He had no idea, no fucking idea. He didn't know about the surgical gloves hiding the 10-carat diamond on her left hand, the one she wore specifically to avoid attention during solo shopping trips. Didn't know about the penthouse in Hanamdong with bulletproof windows and a view that cost more than his entire net worth. Didn't know about the black American Express Centurion card tucked in her Hermes bag, the one with no spending limit and a name on it that made bank managers bow. And Devin Hartwell certainly didn't know about *him. He didn't know about Kang Di-hyun, her husband, Seoul's Phantom King, the man whose empire existed in shadows and whispers, whose name made politicians sweat and conglomerates crumble. The man whose security detail was currently pinning Devin's bodyguards to the marble floor with the efficiency of apex predators. Zara's vision swam as she reached for her bag with trembling fingers. Her phone was vibrating. She knew who it was before she even looked at the screen. Di-hyun incoming call. Her thumb accepted the call, and his voice came through like dark velvet wrapped around steel. Zara, why is your heart rate elevated? The biometric bracelet he'd given her. Of course he was monitoring it. Her voice cracked. She watched Devin's expression shift from contempt to confusion as he noticed the phone pressed to her bloody ear. I'm okay. Your heart rate spiked 60 seconds ago, you're lying. A pause, then deadly quiet. Who touched you? Across the marble expanse, Devin was starting to register the wrongness of the situation. The way his bodyguards were face down with knees in their backs. The way the entire mall had stopped breathing. The way Zara, poor, broken, worthless Zara who used to cry in her car and eat ramen for dinner, was wearing surgical gloves that probably cost more than his watch. An old acquaintance, Zara said softly, her eyes locked on Devin's face as recognition finally sparked in his features. Someone who didn't know I'm not who I used to be. She heard it then, the sound that made her husband's enemies pray for mercy. Di-hyun laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. It was the laugh of a man who'd built an empire on the corpses of people who'd made the mistake of thinking they could take what was his. Location, one word, calm as death. Dynasty Galleria, 3rd floor, east wing. 6 minutes. The line went dead. Zara slowly got to her feet, glass crunching under her Louboutin boots. Blood dripped from her temple onto the white marble. Around them, shoppers had pulled out phones, but no one was filming. Di-hyun's people were already moving through the crowd, ensuring digital silence. Wait, Devin's voice had changed. The contempt was bleeding into something that looked almost like fear. Zara, what? What's happening? She peeled off one surgical glove. The diamond caught the light, a flawless stone the size of a quail's egg, surrounded by black diamonds that seemed to absorb illumination. The band was platinum, engraved with characters that meant asterisk, mine in this life and every life after. You know what your problem always was, Devin? Zara's voice was steady now despite the blood trailing down her neck, staining the collar of her Givenchy dress. You never could recognize value when you saw it. You thought I was worthless because I was poor, because I loved you more than I loved myself, Because I begged you not to leave. She took a step toward him. He stumbled backward. You left me with $17 and a baby I couldn't feed. You blocked my number while I was calling from the hospital, hemorrhaging and alone. You told me I was a mistake you needed to correct. Another step. Devon hit the railing overlooking the atrium. But you were wrong about something crucial, Devon. Zara smiled, and it was all teeth. I wasn't worthless. I was just waiting for someone who could see what you couldn't. The sound reached them then. Engines. Multiple vehicles moving fast, tires squealing in the underground garage. The distinctive growl of motorcycles flanking something heavier. Devon's face drained of color. Who did you marry? Before Zara could answer, the elevator chimed. The doors slid open. Kang Dehyun stepped out first. He was 6'3" of tailored menace in a black suit that probably cost more than Devon's car. His face was beautiful in the way a blade was beautiful, all sharp angles and cold precision. His hair was swept back, revealing features that belonged on magazine covers, but housed something far too dangerous for glossy pages. Behind him came his inner circle. 12 men in matching black suits, each one carrying themselves with the lethal grace of people who'd killed and would kill again. They fanned out with military precision, cutting off every exit, every escape route. But it was Dehyun's eyes that made grown men confess to crimes they hadn't committed. They swept the scene, the shattered display, the blood on the marble, the blood on his wife's face, and went absolutely flat. Which one? His voice was conversational, almost pleasant. Him, Zara pointed at Devon. Dehyun's gaze shifted to Devon like a spotlight finding its target. He didn't move toward him, didn't need to. Name. D. Devon Hartwell. Devon was shaking now, visibly trembling. American. Yes, I'm a citizen, you can't. Your embassy is closed for Christmas. They won't even know you're missing until after the holidays. Dehyun tilted his head slightly. Tell me, Mr. Hartwell, do you know what happened to the last person who made my wife bleed? Devon couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Dehyun continued in that same pleasant tone. I found his body 3 months later, what was left of it, dental records only. He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. I'm feeling generous today, though. It's Christmas. I'll give you a choice. He gestured to one of his men, who stepped forward holding a tablet. Option 1, you sign over every asset you own. Businesses, properties, investments, vehicles, everything. It goes into a trust for children orphaned by domestic violence. You'll leave Korea with the clothes on your back and a one-way ticket to whatever hole you crawl out of. Devon's mouth worked soundlessly. Option 2. Dehyun's voice dropped into a register that made the temperature plummet. I spend the next 72 hours showing you exactly what happens to men who put their hands on what belongs to me. Then I dump what's left of you in the Pacific. Your family will spend the rest of their lives wondering what happened to you. That's not, you can't, I have rights. Dehyun moved then, faster than something his size should move. He had Devon by the throat, lifting him onto his toes against the railing, dangling him over a 3-story drop. You lost your rights the moment you made her bleed. His voice was barely a whisper, but everyone heard it. You lost your rights when you abandoned her pregnant and penniless, when you let her starve until she lost your child, when you threw a shoe at my wife's head like she was garbage. Devon was choking, clawing at Dehyun's wrist. Choose, now. 1, Devon gasped. Option 1, please. Dehyun held him there for 3 more seconds. Then he dropped him. Devon collapsed on the marble, sobbing. Get him out of my sight. Dehyun didn't look at him again. His attention was already on Zara, crossing the distance between them in 3 strides. Let me see. His hands were gentle as he tilted her face, examining the cut on her temple with the focused intensity he usually reserved for business negotiations. Up close, she could see the rage still burning in his eyes, banking but not extinguished. Hospital. It's just a cut. Hospital, not a request. One of his men was already on the phone. Another approached with a first aid kit, but Dehyun waved him off, pulling out his own handkerchief, monogrammed with his initials in silver thread, and pressing it gently against her wound. "I had an easy morning planned," he murmured, almost to himself. "Coffee, paperwork, maybe lunch at that place you like with the garden view." His jaw tightened. "Instead, I'm planning how to destroy a man's entire existence before dinner." "Di-Hyun." "He hit you, Zara." His eyes met hers, and she saw it then. The barely controlled violence, the thing he kept leashed for her sake. "He hit you, and the only reason he's not already dead is because you're watching." She touched his face, feeling the tension in his jaw. "I'm okay." "You're bleeding." "I've bled before." Wrong thing to say. His expression went arctic. "Never again, not while I'm breathing." Around them, his men had already cleared the floor. Devon was being dragged to the elevator, still crying. The shattered display was being photographed for evidence. Mall security was being quietly informed that the footage from the last hour didn't exist and never had. This was Di-Hyun's world. One word from him could topple corporations or make people vanish. One gesture could redirect millions or end lives. And he'd brought all of it crashing down on a random Tuesday afternoon, because someone had dared to make his wife bleed. "I love you," Zara said quietly. His expression softened fractionally. "I know, it's the only reason this mall is still standing." He kissed her forehead, careful of her injury. "Come on, let's get you patched up properly. Then we need to talk about why you're shopping without your security detail." "I wanted coffee." "You wanted coffee, so you disabled the GPS on your phone and told Sungmin you were staying home to read." She had the grace to look sheepish. "I didn't want to be followed." "Zara," he sighed, but there was affection in it. "You're married to Korea's most dangerous man. You don't get coffee alone anymore. You get coffee with 6 armed guards and a sniper on the roof." "That seems excessive," says the woman, currently bleeding from a head wound. "Fair point." They walked to the elevator together, his arm around her waist, his body angled to shield her from any potential threat. Even now, even in the aftermath, he was protecting her. This was her life now. Designer clothes and bulletproof cars, penthouse views and armed escorts, a husband who could buy countries but chose to buy her favorite chocolates instead. A man who ruled an empire of shadows but learned to cook breakfast because she mentioned missing her grandmother's recipes. 3 years ago, she'd been broken, abandoned, starving and hopeless, with $17 and dreams that had shattered like the Christmas display around her feet. Now she was Mrs. Kang Di-Hyun. And Devon Hartwell had just learned what happened, and you underestimated the woman who'd risen from those ashes. The elevator doors closed on the 3rd floor of Dynasty Galleria, leaving behind shattered glass and the beginning of one man's complete destruction. Outside, Christmas decorations twinkled in the Seoul twilight, oblivious to the violence that had just unfolded beneath their festive glow. 6 minutes, that's how long it had taken for Zara's world to shift again. But this time, she wasn't falling. This time, she was standing. 3 years earlier, Chicago. The eviction notice was pink. Zara had always thought that was cruel, making something so devastating look so cheerful, like a birthday invitation to homelessness. She sat on the floor of the empty apartment, the paper trembling in her hands. Around her, indentations in the carpet marked where furniture used to be. Devon had taken everything. The couch his mother bought them. The bed they'd shared for 2 years. The television, the dishes, even the curtains. He'd left her the pink notice and a text message. "This isn't working. I need more. You're holding me back." Zara pressed her hand against her stomach, feeling the small swell there. 17 weeks pregnant. She'd been planning to tell him that night over the dinner she could no longer afford to make in the kitchen she no longer had access to. Her phone buzzed. Another bill, another overdraft notice. Another reminder that Devon had drained their joint account, the one she'd stupidly trusted him with, and disappeared. She had $17 in her wallet. $17, and a baby she couldn't feed. The sob came from somewhere deep, somewhere that had been holding it together through sheer force of will. It tore out of her, ugly and raw, echoing in the empty space that used to be home. Her phone rang, Devon's mother. "Hello." "Don't hello me, you gold-digging." The slurs came fast and vicious, each one a blade. "My son finally came to his senses. He's too good for someone like you. You probably trapped him with that baby anyway. We all know what you people do." "You people." Zara ended the call. She'd heard it before. From Devon's friends who smiled to her face and whispered when she left the room. From his colleagues who asked where she was really from, even though she'd been born in Illinois. From his father who drunkenly told Devon he could do better than some black girl from the South Side. She'd thought Devon was different, thought his love was real. She'd been spectacularly wrong. 2 months later. The hospital lights were too bright. Everything was too bright and too loud and too much. "Ms. Patterson, you're hemorrhaging. We need to operate." Zara couldn't hear the rest. Couldn't hear anything over the sound of her own heartbeat, slowing, slowing, slowing. She'd been at her third job, night shift at a convenience store, when the cramping started. She'd ignored it. Couldn't afford not to. Couldn't afford to lose another job, not when she was already 2 months behind on rent in the studio apartment that was somehow worse than the last place. Then came the blood. She woke up 18 hours later to silence. No heartbeat on the monitor except her own. No baby. No anything. The nurse, an older Korean woman with kind eyes, held her hand while she cried. Didn't say anything. Just held on while Zara shattered into pieces no one would ever put back together. "The doctor said malnutrition was a contributing factor," the nurse said softly. "When did you last eat a full meal?" Zara couldn't remember. "There are programs, resources, food banks, assistance." "I applied." Her voice sounded dead even to her own ears. "I make $17 too much to qualify." The nurse's hand tightened on hers. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Zara." "Zara, I'm going to give you my card. My daughter runs a restaurant. She's always looking for help. Good pay, good hours, and they feed you. Will you call her?" Zara took the card, because it was easier than explaining that she was too broken to care about tomorrow. 6 months later, Seoul. Zara had taken the job, not because she wanted to, but because the alternative was dying, and some stubborn part of her refused to give Devon that satisfaction. The restaurant was in Koreatown, run by the nurse's daughter, a woman named Jae-young who asked no questions and simply put Zara to work. The pay was good. The food was better. Slowly, painfully, Zara learned to exist again. When Jae-young mentioned her cousin was opening a restaurant in Seoul and needed someone who spoke English, Zara had said yes before fully processing the question. She needed distance, needed to be somewhere Devon couldn't accidentally find her, needed to be in a place where no one knew the girl who'd lost everything. Seoul was chaos and beauty and overwhelming in every possible way. The restaurant, an upscale fusion place in Gangnam, catered to international businessmen and diplomats. Zara's job was simple: manage the English-speaking staff and clientele, coordinate with suppliers, keep everything running smoothly. She was good at it, good at smiling and being professional and pretending she was whole. She'd been there 3 months when he walked in. Kang Di-hyun. She didn't know who he was then. Didn't know that the tall, devastatingly handsome man in the immaculate suit was Seoul's most dangerous secret. Didn't know that the men with him were his inner circle, or that the table they occupied was always reserved, always empty, always waiting. She just knew he looked at her like she was real. Not like a conquest or a charity case or something to be tolerated. Real. "You're American," he said in perfect English, his voice like dark honey. "Guilty," she smiled her professional smile. "What can I get you gentlemen this evening?" He ordered for the table in Korean, then switched back to English. "You speak Korean." "I'm learning." Still sound like a toddler, though. The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Your pronunciation isn't bad. You said thank you to the host earlier. Good tone." "I have a good teacher." Jae-young had been patient with her, teaching her phrases during slow shifts. How long have you been in Seoul? 3 months. Do you like it? It was such a simple question, but the way he asked it, like he genuinely cared about the answer, made something in her chest constrict. I do, she said honestly. It's different, but good different. He studied her for a moment, and Zara had the unsettling feeling of being seen. Truly seen, in a way she hadn't been since before Devon, before the loss, before everything fell apart. I'm Di-hyun, he said, extending his hand. Zara, she shook it. His hand was warm, his grip firm but not aggressive. It's nice to meet you, Zara. He came back the next week, and the week after that. Always the same table, always with his men, but his attention always found her. Conversations that started as professional pleasantries evolved into something else. Something that made her laugh for the first time in a year. Something that made her remember what it felt like to be wanted, not for what she could give, but for who she was. 3 months later. You're being careful, right? Jae-young asked in Korean during prep time. Zara looked up from the inventory sheet. Careful about what? Kang Di-hyun. Jae-young's expression was serious. Do you know who he is? A businessman. Jae-young laughed, but it wasn't happy. Oh, Zara, he's much more than that. How do I explain this? He's powerful, very powerful. The kind of powerful that makes people disappear. Cold trickled down Zara's spine. What do you mean? I mean he's dangerous. His family has connections everywhere. Government, business, underground, people don't say no to him, they don't cross him, and they definitely don't date him casually. We're not dating. He comes here every week to see you. He's asked you out 4 times. That's dating in Di-hyun's world. Zara had said no each time, not because she didn't want to say yes, God, she wanted to, but because she was still healing, still putting herself back together, still terrified of trusting someone again. I'm not looking for a relationship, Zara said quietly. I know, but he is. Jae-young touched her shoulder gently. Just be careful, he's not like other men. When he wants something, he gets it. And Zara, he wants you. I can see it every time he looks at you. That night, Di-hyun came in alone. No entourage, no business associates, just him in dark jeans and a sweater that made him look younger, more approachable, almost normal. Slow night, Zara asked as she brought him water. I wanted to talk to you. Seemed easier without an audience. Her heart did something complicated in her chest. About why you keep saying no. Direct, she appreciated that. Zara slid into the booth across from him, definitely against protocol, but the restaurant was nearly empty and Jae-young had pointedly disappeared into the kitchen. You don't know me, she said. I know you work 3 jobs even though this one pays enough that you shouldn't need to. I know you send money somewhere every month. Family, probably. I know you smile at everyone, but you don't mean it, except sometimes when you're talking to the kitchen staff about their kids. I know you're running from something, and I know you don't trust easily. Zara's breath caught. You've been investigating me. I've been paying attention, he leaned forward. There's a difference. That's creepy. Probably. He didn't look sorry. I'm not good at this, dating, normal relationship things, but I know what I want and I want to know you, really know you, not just the version you show customers. Why? The question came out smaller than she intended. Because you're brilliant and careful and kind even when you don't have to be. Because you've been hurt badly and you're still here, still standing, still trying. Because when you laugh, really laugh, not the customer service laugh, it's the best sound I've ever heard. He paused. And because when I look at you, I see someone worth knowing, worth protecting, worth everything. Zara felt tears prick her eyes. I'm broken. No, his voice was firm. You're healing, there's a difference. I have baggage, trauma, issues. Everyone does. Mine are messy. I don't do clean, he smiled slightly. My life is complicated, dangerous sometimes. I can't promise you easy, but I can promise you safe, respected, valued, chosen every single day. She looked at this man, this dangerous, powerful, impossible man, offering her something she'd stopped believing existed. One date, she heard herself say. Coffee, public place, daytime. His smile was brilliant. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., I know a place. Present day, hospital private wing asterisk. The doctor finished stitching Zara's temple while Di-hyun stood at the window, his phone pressed to his ear, conducting business in rapid-fire Korean that sounded like threats wrapped in politeness. She watched him, her husband of 18 months, and marveled at how far she'd come. From broken to whole, from abandoned to chosen, from $17 and a pink eviction notice to a black card and a penthouse. From Zara Patterson to Kang Zara. Di-hyun ended his call and turned to her. Devon Hartwell's assets will be frozen by morning. His business partners are being contacted as we speak. By this time tomorrow, he'll have nothing. That seems excessive. He hit you, said like that explained everything. Maybe it did. All done, the doctor said in accented English. Keep it dry for 24 hours. No strenuous activity. Come back in a week to remove stitches. Di-hyun bowed slightly. Thank you, Dr. Kim. They left through a private exit where 3 cars were waiting. Di-hyun helped her into the middle vehicle, bulletproof, naturally, and slid in beside her. Home, the driver asked in Korean. Home, Di-hyun confirmed. Zara leaned against him, suddenly exhausted. His arm came around her, solid and warm and safe. We never did get coffee, she murmured. He kissed the top of her head. I'll make you some when we get home, the good stuff from Ethiopia you like. The one that costs. I don't care what it costs. She smiled against his chest. I love you. I know. His hand found hers, thumb tracing over her wedding ring. But I love you more. Impossible. Watch me prove it. Through the tinted windows, Seoul glittered in the early evening. Christmas lights twinkled from every building. Somewhere in this city, Devon Hartwell was learning the cost of his cruelty. Somewhere, the girl Zara used to be was finally at peace. And here, in the back of an armored car with her dangerous husband's arms around her, Zara was exactly where she belonged. The penthouse was silent when they arrived, the kind of silence that came with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a city that never truly slept. Seoul sprawled beneath them like a circuit board of light and ambition. Zara kicked off her blood-stained Laobaotins and padded across the heated marble floors to the kitchen. Behind her, Di-hyun was already on his phone again, his voice dropping into that tone that made subordinates scramble. I don't care if it's Christmas Eve. I want every business associate of Devon Hartwell contacted within the hour. Tell them their relationship with him is now a liability. A pause. Yes, all of them, international partners included. Zara filled the electric kettle, her hands steadier now. The cut on her temple throbbed with a dull ache that she knew would bloom into a full headache by morning. She caught her reflection in the dark window, dried blood on her collar, her hair coming loose from its usually neat style, a bruise already forming along her cheekbone. She looked like what she was, a woman who'd been attacked. The rage came then, hot and sudden. Not at Devon, he was pathetic, always had been, but at herself, for freezing, for falling, for not fighting back. Zara, Di-hyun's voice cut through her spiral. He'd ended his call and was watching her with that unsettling perception he had. What are you thinking? That I should have hit him back. She turned to face him fully. I just fell. I didn't even try to defend myself. He crossed to her in 3 strides, his hands framing her face with a gentleness that contradicted everything else about him. You were ambushed. There's no shame in that. I'm married to you. People will come for me because of that. Today proved it. Her voice hardened. I need to be able to protect myself. Something flickered in his eyes. Approval, maybe. You want to learn to fight. I want to learn to destroy. She held his gaze. Like you do. I don't want to be a weakness someone can exploit. I won't be that girl on the floor ever again. Di-hyun studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Okay, tomorrow we start training, but tonight, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression went cold. Tonight, Devon Hartwell learns what happens when you touch something precious to me. What did you do? Come see. He led her to his office, the room she rarely entered, the one with the reinforced walls and the computers that connected to systems she didn't ask about. The large monitor showed multiple camera feeds. Devon was in what looked like a warehouse. Concrete floors, metal beams, no windows. He was zip-tied to a chair, surrounded by 6 of Di-Hyun's men. Sung-min, Di-Hyun's right hand, stood closest to Devon with the tablet from earlier. Live feed, Di-Hyun said, unmuting the audio. He's been crying for 40 minutes. On screen, Devon's face was blotchy and swollen from tears. His expensive suit was rumpled, one sleeve torn. He looked small, pathetic. Please, Devon sobbed to Sung-min, I have rights. You can't do this. This is kidnapping. I'll go to the police. Sung-min laughed. It wasn't a nice sound. The police? In Seoul, do you have any idea who you attacked today? He switched to English, his accent crisp. Let me educate you, Mr. Hartwell. The woman you assaulted is Kang Zara, wife of Kang Di-Hyun. Do you know what that means? Devon shook his head, still crying. It means half the police force is on his payroll. The other half is too smart to cross him. It means the American embassy won't help you because they don't interfere with Korean internal affairs, especially when it involves people like us. It means you're in a country where you have no power, no connections, and no protection. Sung-min leaned closer. It means you're fucked. Zara found herself leaning forward, watching Devon's face crumble with a satisfaction that should have scared her, but didn't. I didn't know, Devon whimpered. How was I supposed to know she married someone like that? She was nobody. She was. The slap came fast. Sung-min's hand cracked across Devon's face hard enough to snap his head sideways. Speak about Mrs. Kang with respect or I'll cut out your tongue. Sung-min's voice was pleasant again. Now, let's review your options. Option 1, which you've already selected, you sign over all your assets, every penny, every property, every business interest. Gone. He held up the tablet, showing documents already prepared. I have contracts here that will transfer everything to a charitable trust benefiting survivors of domestic violence and abandoned mothers. You'll sign them. Then you'll record a video confession explaining why you're donating everything. That's insane. I'll be ruined. You're already ruined. We're just deciding how much you'll suffer while it happens. Sung-min scrolled through another screen. We've already contacted your business partners. Peterson withdrew from your real estate venture. Chang pulled his investment in your tech startup. Rodriguez sent a very apologetic email explaining he can no longer work with you. He smiled. That was in the last 40 minutes. By morning, you won't have a single business relationship left. Devon was hyperventilating now. This isn't legal. You can't. We can do whatever we want. That's what power means. Sung-min's expression hardened. But here's where it gets interesting. Your assets, that's just the beginning. The boss wanted me to explain exactly what you did wrong. Another man stepped forward with a laptop, turning it so Devon could see the screen. Photos began cycling. Zara recognized them, pictures from 3 years ago. Her and Devon together, smiling at restaurants he'd insisted on even though they couldn't afford them. Pictures from the apartment before he'd emptied it. Screenshots of bank statements showing the joint account drain. Zara Patterson, Sung-min narrated. Your fiancée, 24 years old, pregnant with your child. You abandoned her with $17, a rent payment due, and no way to feed herself. More photos. Medical records. Zara felt Di-Hyun tense beside her. She'd never shown him these. 5 months pregnant when she lost the baby. Contributing factors: malnutrition, stress, lack of prenatal care. Sung-min's voice could have frozen hell. The hospital report notes she'd lost 15 pounds in 2 months. She was literally starving to death, and you were in Miami with your new girlfriend, posting pictures on social media. Devon had stopped crying. He looked sick. You left her to die, Sung-min continued. You drained her bank account, stole her furniture, blocked her number when she tried to reach you from the hospital. Your mother called her racial slurs and accused her of being a gold digger, ironic, given you're the one who stole from her. He closed the laptop. So when you saw her today, successful and beautiful and everything you tried to destroy, you decided to hurt her again. You threw a shoe at her head, drew blood, humiliated her in public. I didn't know she was married too. That's not why it was wrong. Sungmin's composure cracked for the first time. It was wrong because she's a human being who deserved basic dignity. It was wrong 3 years ago, and it's wrong now. Her husband's power doesn't make her valuable. She was always valuable. You were just too stupid and cruel to see it. Zara felt tears prick her eyes. Beside her, Di-hyun's hand found hers, squeezing gently. On screen, Sungmin had regained his control. The boss has decided to be merciful. You get to live. You get to leave Korea. But first, you're going to understand consequences. He snapped his fingers. 2 men stepped forward and hauled Devon to his feet, cutting the zip ties. They forced him to face a camera that had been set up. Read this. Sungmin handed him a paper. Every word. Devon's hands shook as he held the statement. He looked at the camera, then at the paper, then back. I can't. Read it or lose teeth. Your choice. Devon's voice cracked as he began. My name is Devon Hartwell. 3 years ago, I abandoned my pregnant fiancée, Zara Patterson. I stole from her, left her destitute, and blocked her when she tried to reach me. My actions contributed to her losing our child. Today, I assaulted her in public because I'm a coward who can't handle seeing a woman I tried to destroy succeed without me. He was crying again, but Sungmin made him continue. I am donating every asset I own to charity as restitution for my actions. I am leaving Korea and will never contact Zara or the Kang family again. If I break this agreement, I understand there will be severe consequences. Devon's voice dropped to a whisper. I'm sorry for everything. I'm so sorry. Cut. Sungmin took back the paper. That video will be stored securely. If you ever speak about today, about the Kang family, about Zara, if you ever even think about coming back to Korea, that video goes public. To your family, your friends, every social media platform, the news, everyone will know exactly what you are. Devon collapsed back into the chair, broken. Now sign the contracts. Sungmin pushed the tablet forward. Every page, every line, sign away everything you own. It took 20 minutes. Devon signed through tears, his hand shaking so badly several signatures had to be redone. Each stroke of the stylus transferred another piece of his life away. The Chicago condo, the investment properties, the startup equity, the vintage car collection, the offshore accounts he'd thought were secret. All of it gone. When it was finished, Sungmin reviewed the documents with the efficiency of a lawyer, ensuring every signature was legal, every transfer binding. Excellent, you're officially broke. He nodded to his men. Take him to Incheon, put him on the next flight to Chicago, economy. Make sure airport security knows he's banned from returning to Korea for life. As they dragged Devon toward a door, Sungmin called out one last time. Mr. Hartwell. Devon turned, his face a mask of devastation. She was always too good for you. You just finally noticed. The feed cut to black. Zara realized she was shaking. Di-hyun turned her to face him, his hands gentle on her shoulders. Too much, he asked quietly. She shook her head. Not enough. I wanted to be there. I wanted him to see me watching him lose everything. Next time, he kissed her forehead, careful of the stitches. Next time you'll be in the room. Next time you'll be the one deciding consequences. But first, you learn to fight, to protect yourself, to never be on that floor again. Promise. Promise. His eyes were fierce. I'll teach you everything, how to read danger, how to strike first, how to break bones and end threats. You'll never be helpless again. Zara leaned into him, feeling the solid strength of him, the absolute certainty. What did his assets total? 8.3 million. It's already being transferred to the trust. By morning, there will be a new scholarship fund for single mothers, a shelter expansion in Chicago, and legal aid for domestic violence survivors. He smiled slightly. Devon Hartwell's legacy will be helping the women he tried to destroy. Poetic. I thought so. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jae-young. Are you okay? I heard something happened at the mall. Zara typed back, I'm fine. Dehyun handled it. Of course he did. That man would burn the world for you. I know. Good, you deserve someone who would. Zara pocketed her phone and looked up at her husband. Thank you, for today, for everything. Always, he pulled her closer. Now come on, you need rest, and I need to make you that coffee I promised. Then tomorrow, we start turning you into something Devon Hartwell should have feared from the beginning. What's that? Dangerous. His smile was dark and proud. My queen in a kingdom of shadows, beautiful and deadly and absolutely untouchable. Zara smiled back, feeling something fierce and powerful unfurl in her chest. I like the sound of that. Good, he led her toward the bedroom, because that's exactly what you're going to become. Behind them, Seoul glittered through the windows. Somewhere in that sprawling city, Devon Hartwell was being escorted to an airport, his life in ruins. And here, in a penthouse that touched the sky, Zara was finally truly free. The girl who'd been broken was gone. What remained was a woman ready to break anyone who tried again. The next morning, Zara woke to find her husband doing push-ups in their bedroom, wearing nothing but black boxer briefs, which was both incredibly distracting and deeply unfair at 6 a.m. You're starring, Dehyun said without looking up, his voice completely unbothered as he continued his reps with the kind of effortless control that suggested he could do this all day. I'm appreciating, Zara corrected, propping herself up on one elbow. There's a difference. He finished his set and stood, barely winded, which was just rude honestly. Get dressed. We start training in 30 minutes. It's 6 in the morning. Enemies don't wait until after breakfast. Your enemies need to learn about reasonable hours and work-life balance. If you're enjoying Zara's journey from abandoned to absolutely unstoppable, please like and subscribe for more. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more dramatic, satisfying stories of women who refuse to stay down. He pulled her out of bed with zero sympathy for her very valid complaints about the time. Wear something you can move in. We're starting with basics. Basics like how to make coffee at a reasonable hour. Basics like how to break someone's nose. Oh, that kind of basics. 20 minutes later, Zara found herself in the penthouse's private gym. Because of course they had a private gym, complete with equipment that looked like it cost more than her first car and probably had features she'd need a manual to understand. Dehyun had changed into fitted black training gear that should have been illegal in several countries. Sungmin was there too, along with 2 other members of Dehyun's inner circle. Minho, who looked like he could bench press a car, and Yi-sung, who was smaller but had the eyes of someone who'd hidden many bodies. Morning, Mrs. Kang, Sungmin said cheerfully, as if he hadn't spent last night psychologically destroying a man. Ready to become terrifying. Before coffee? Absolutely not. I'm already terrifying before coffee, just ask anyone. She's not wrong, Dehyun confirmed. I once asked her a question before her first cup, and she threatened to file for divorce using only her eyebrows. I didn't threaten, I communicated a boundary. With violence in your eyes. See, I'm already halfway there. Sungmin grinned. I like her, can we keep her? Too late, I already married her, Dehyun said, moving to the center of the mat. Okay, Zara, first lesson, awareness. Most people lose fights because they don't see them coming. Like yesterday, Zara said, her humor fatting slightly. Like yesterday, he agreed. So we fix that, Minho, you're up. The mountain of a man stepped onto the mat. Zara craned her neck to look up at him. You want me to fight him? He's the size of a refrigerator. A very athletic refrigerator, Minho said in surprisingly good English, flexing. With feelings. I apologize to your feelings in advance. Don't apologize yet. You haven't hit me, Minho grinned. Mrs. Kang, I'm going to try to grab you. Your job is to not let me. Okay, but just so we're clear. When I inevitably fail and you accidentally hurt me, my husband will probably remove important parts of your anatomy. That's accurate, Dehyun confirmed casually. Noted. Minho didn't look particularly worried, which suggested either he had great confidence in his control or a terrible survival instinct. Ready. He moved fast for someone his size. Zara tried to step back but wasn't quite fast enough. His hand closed around her wrist. Stop, Dehyun's voice cut through. Zara, what did you feel right before he grabbed you? Panic. Before that. She thought back. The air moved, like a shift in pressure or something. Exactly, your body knew before your brain processed it. That's what we're training, to trust that instinct and react. He gestured to Minho. Again, this time when you feel that shift, move. They repeated it 15 times. By the 10th attempt, Zara was actually dodging. By the 15th, she was dodging and creating distance. Good, Dehyun said, and the pride in his voice made her feel like she'd won an Olympic medal. Now we add strikes. The next hour was brutal. They taught her where to hit: throat, eyes, groin, knees, and how to hit with maximum impact using minimum effort. Yi-sung demonstrated on a dummy with the kind of clinical precision that suggested he'd done this on non-dummies before. The goal isn't to win a fight, he explained in accented English. The goal is to create an opening to escape. Hit hard, hit fast, run faster. What if I can't run? What if I'm cornered? Then you make them regret cornering you. He showed her how to use keys as weapons, how to stomp on insteps, how to headbutt without concussing herself. Fight dirty. There's no honor in being dead. That's oddly philosophical for a Tuesday morning. I read a lot of poetry. While hiding bodies. Multitasking is important. By hour 3, Zara was drenched in sweat and her muscles were screaming, but she'd successfully defended against Sungmin's grab, Minho's hold, and Yi-sung's simulated attack. She felt powerful, capable, dangerous. Last test, Dehyun said, stepping onto the mat. Me. You want me to fight you? I want you to try. He smiled, and it was all predator. Come on, wife, show me what you've learned. Zara studied him. He was relaxed, hands loose at his sides, weight balanced. She remembered Yi-sung's advice: create an opening and exploit it ruthlessly. She feinted left, and when Dehyun shifted, she went right, aiming a palm strike at his throat. He caught her wrist, twisted, and had her on the mat in approximately 2 seconds. Ow. You telegraphed, he helped her up. Your eyes gave away your intention, again. They went again, and again, and again. Each time he countered with embarrassing ease, but each time he also explained exactly what she'd done wrong and how to fix it. You're enjoying this, Zara accused after the 7th failed attempt. Immensely. He wasn't even slightly sorry. Again. This time, she didn't think. Just moved on instinct, ducked under his guard, drove her elbow toward his ribs. He blocked, but had to actually work for it, and Zara saw his expression shift to genuine approval. Better, much better. I didn't actually hit you. Not the point. You made me defend seriously, that's progress. He pulled her close, kissing her forehead. Enough for today, you did well. I'm going to feel this tomorrow. You're going to feel this for a week, Sungmin said cheerfully. But you'll be able to destroy testicles, so it's worth it. That's going on my resume. Zara Kang, destroyer of testicles. Terrifying, Yi-sung deadpanned. I'm scared already. You should be. I know where you sleep. She does know where we all sleep, Minho pointed out. That is actually concerning. Oh my God. I'm not going to attack you in your sleep. That's exactly what someone planning to attack us in our sleep would say, Sungmin said sagely. Dehyun was watching this exchange with poorly concealed amusement. Are you 3 finished terrorizing my wife? Never, they said in unison. I'm adopting them, Zara announced. They're my brothers now, I've decided. You can't just adopt my elite security team. Watch me, we're family now. Minho, what's your favorite food? I'm making dinner. Minho's eyes went wide. You cook. I worked in restaurants for 2 years. I can make food that'll make you cry. I like kimchi jjigae. Done, Sungmin. Anything with cheese. I'm obsessed with cheese. It's a problem. Yi-sung. Surprise me. Ominous, but okay. Zara turned to Di-hyun. We're having family dinner tonight. Everyone's invited. No murder talk at the table. But that's my favorite dinner conversation, Di-hyun protested. New rule. No discussing murder, torture, or dismemberment while I'm serving pasta. Before or after pasta is acceptable, Sungmin asked hopefully. You're all terrible and I love you. Zara headed for the door, her muscles protesting every step. I'm showering. Someone order ingredients and coffee, so much coffee. In the shower, under water pressure that could strip paint, Zara assessed the damage. Bruises blooming on her arms. Muscles she'd forgotten existed staging a protest. The stitches on her temple pulling slightly when she moved. But underneath the pain was something else. Something fierce and bright and unbreakable. She was learning to fight back. She was becoming dangerous. And honestly, it felt amazing. When she emerged 40 minutes later, clean and dressed in comfortable clothes, she found Di-hyun in his office on yet another call. She didn't disturb him, just curled up in the chair by the window with her coffee, the Ethiopian blend that cost more than some people's rent, and watched Seoul wake up below. Her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. This is Jae-young. Sungmin gave me your new number. Are you okay? I heard about yesterday. Zara smiled and typed back. I'm perfect. My husband destroyed my ex's entire life, and this morning I learned how to break someone's nose. It's been a good 24 hours. That's the most concerning text I've ever received, and I once got a message that just said fire with no context. To be fair, this is much less concerning than unexplained fire. Valid point. Dinner this week. I miss you. Can't this week. Training to become terrifying. How about next week? Deal. Bring your husband. I want to thank him for employing you and also terrorizing your ex. He'll love that. He enjoys being thanked for terrorism. I'm sure he does. Love you, Zara. Proud of you. Love you too. Zara set down her phone, feeling the warmth of connection. Jae-young had saved her life once, in a Chicago restaurant when Zara had been too broken to save herself. Now here she was, in Seoul, married to a crime lord, learning to destroy testicles, living a life so absurd it should be fiction. What are you smiling about? Di-hyun asked from the doorway. How weird my life is now. A year ago, I was managing a restaurant and eating ramen for dinner. Now I have a personal security team and I'm training to commit violence. Upgrade. Massive upgrade. She stood and crossed to him. Thank you for yesterday, for today, for teaching me to fight instead of just fighting for me. His arms came around her, solid and safe. You were never weak, Zara. You just needed tools, now you have them. And testicle-destroying skills. Essential in any marriage. That's what I said. His laugh rumbled through his chest. Come on, we have 3 hours before the ingredients arrive, and I have plans for you. Evil plans. The best kind. Sold. As he led her back to their bedroom, Zara caught sight of her reflection in the hallway mirror. Stitches on her temple, bruises on her arms, muscles that would hurt for days. But her eyes were different, harder, fiercer, unbreakable. Devon had tried to destroy her once. Yesterday, he'd tried again. And both times, he'd failed spectacularly. Because Zara wasn't the girl he'd abandoned anymore. She was Kang Zara, wife of Seoul's most dangerous man, student of violence, destroyer of testicles. And she was just getting started. 6 months later, Zara stood in the center of the training mat, breathing steady, body coiled and ready. Across from her, Minho cracked his knuckles with a grin that said he was about to regret his life choices. Last chance to back out, refrigerator, Zara said sweetly. Mrs. Kang, I outweigh you by 100 pounds. And yet somehow I'm not concerned. She beckoned him forward. Come on, let's see if all that muscle is just for show. He charged. Zara sidestepped, used his momentum against him, and had him on the mat in 4 moves. Minho lay there, staring at the ceiling in shock. Did you break my brain? Just your pride, Zara said, offering him a hand up. Your brain's intact, probably. From the doorway, Di Hyun slow clapped. My wife, ladies and gentlemen, officially terrifying. I learned from the best. She crossed to him, accepting his kiss. Although I still think Minho went easy on me. I absolutely did not, Minho protested from the floor. My ego is genuinely damaged. Your ego needed humbling, Sungmin called out. It was getting too big for the building. 6 months of daily training had transformed Zara. She could disarm an attacker, break holds, fight dirty, and escape almost anything. More importantly, she'd learned to trust herself, her instincts, her strength. She was dangerous now, and it felt magnificent. Ready for tonight? Di Hyun asked, his hand finding the small of her back. Tonight, the charity gala. The one benefiting the trust funded by Devon's seized assets. The event where Seoul's elite would gather to celebrate helping domestic violence survivors while having no idea the money came from destroying an abuser. The irony was delicious. I was born ready, Zara said. Also, I have a new dress that cost more than Devon's car. So yes, extremely ready. The Grand Hyatt ballroom glittered like a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers cast prisms across walls draped in white and gold. Seoul's wealthiest and most powerful mingled over champagne that cost more per glass than Zara used to make in a week. She arrived on Di Hyun's arm, wearing a custom black gown that hugged every curve before flowing into a dramatic train. Diamonds, real ones, an obscene amount, glittered at her throat and ears. Her hair was swept up, showing off the faint scar on her temple. A reminder, a badge of honor. Mr. and Mrs. Kang, the announcer called, and the room turned. Zara felt the weight of their stares, some curious, some envious, some calculating, trying to figure out how a Black American woman had ended up married to one of Seoul's most powerful men. She smiled and let them wonder. You're enjoying this, Di Hyun murmured as they descended the stairs. Immensely, is that wrong? Not even slightly. They made their rounds. Di Hyun introduced her to business partners, politicians, old family friends. Zara charmed them all with perfect Korean. She'd been studying obsessively and strategic English when she wanted to make a point. She was good at this, reading rooms, playing the game. She'd learned from the best, after all. Mrs. Kang, Jae-young appeared in a stunning emerald dress, her husband in tow. You look incredible. So do you, Zara hugged her tight. Thank you for coming. Are you kidding? Free food and I get to watch you be fabulous. This is my dream evening. Jae-young lowered her voice. Also, I heard what this charity is really funding. Brilliant, devious, I'm so proud. I have no idea what you're talking about, Zara said innocently. Of course you don't. Jae-young winked and disappeared into the crowd. The evening progressed beautifully. Dinner was exquisite. The speeches were moving, survivors sharing stories of escape and rebuilding. Zara felt her throat tighten, remembering her own rock bottom, her own desperate climb back to standing. When it was time for the donation announcements, the numbers were staggering. Millions of won pledged to expand shelters, fund legal aid, support education programs for single mothers. All of it built on Devon Hartwell's destroyed empire. Perfect. And now, the MC announced, our final speaker of the evening. Please welcome Mrs. Kang Zara. Zara's heart jumped. This wasn't planned. She looked at Di Hyun, who smiled innocently. Surprise, he murmured. You've earned this moment, take it. She stood, smoothed her dress, and walked to the stage on legs that only shook slightly. The microphone felt heavy in her hand. The ballroom stretched before her, hundreds of faces waiting. Good evening, she began in Korean, her accent still noticeable but improving. Thank you for being here, for your generosity, for caring about people you've never met. She switched to English, her voice stronger. 3 years ago, I was one of the women this charity serves. I was pregnant, abandoned, and starving. I lost my baby because I couldn't afford food. I slept in my car because I couldn't make rent. I thought my life was over. The room was silent, listening. But I survived. I rebuilt. And I learned something crucial. Surviving isn't enough. We have to thrive. We have to become so strong, so brilliant, so unstoppable that the people who tried to break us can't even recognize what we've become. She looked directly at the camera she knew was recording. Directly at Devon, wherever he was now, watching or not. To anyone who thinks they can destroy someone and walk away without consequences, you're wrong. We remember, we rise, and we make sure you regret ever underestimating us. The applause started slowly, then built to a roar. People were standing, some were crying. Zara descended the stage to find Di Hyun waiting, his eyes bright with pride and something that looked suspiciously like tears. That was, his voice caught. Perfect, you were perfect. I learned from experience. She kissed him, not caring who was watching. Thank you for everything, for seeing me when I couldn't see myself. Always, he held her close. You know Devon's watching this, right? We made sure the stream reached him. Good, Zara's smile was sharp. I hope he chokes on his ramen because that's all he can afford now. Vicious, I love it. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of congratulations and connection. Survivors approached Zara, thanking her for sharing her story. Donors pledged additional funds. Jae-young cried into her champagne about how proud she was. As midnight approached, Zara and Di Hyun slipped away to the balcony overlooking Seoul. The city sparkled beneath them, infinite and alive. Happy? Di Hyun asked, pulling her against him. Deliriously, she leaned into his warmth. Who knew revenge could be so satisfying? Everyone knew that. Fair point, she turned in his arms. I have news. Something in her tone made him go still. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. She took his hand and placed it on her stomach. We're pregnant. For 3 seconds, Di Hyun didn't move, didn't breathe. Then, we're having a baby. Apparently, all that quality time together had consequences. Zara, his voice broke. His hand spread across her stomach like he could already feel their child growing there. Are you okay? Are you scared? Do you need anything? Should you sit down? I need you to breathe before you pass out at your own charity gala. Right, breathing, important. He pulled her impossibly closer. We're having a baby. We are, surprise. Best surprise. He kissed her deep and claiming. I love you so much. I love you too. She smiled against his lips. Even though you're going to be impossibly overprotective for the next 9 months. You have no idea. He was already pulling out his phone. I'm calling Dr. Kim and upgrading security and baby-proofing the penthouse. Di Hyun, I'm like 6 weeks pregnant. So we're behind schedule. Got it. Zara laughed, the sound bright and free. 3 years ago, she'd lost a baby because she couldn't afford to eat. She'd been broken and alone and certain her life was over. Now she was standing on a balcony overlooking Seoul, wearing diamonds and designer clothes, married to a man who'd burn the world to keep her safe, carrying a child who would be protected and loved and wanted. Devon had tried to destroy her. Instead, he'd destroyed himself while she built a kingdom. What are you thinking? Di Hyun asked, his hand still protective on her stomach. That revenge is sweet, but this, she gestured to him, to Seoul, to the future growing inside her. This is sweeter. Devon wanted to break me. Instead, he gave me the push I needed to become someone he could never touch, someone powerful, someone dangerous, someone happy. Mrs. Kang, destroyer of testicles and my entire heart. That's going on the baby announcement. I've decided. Our child will be so confused. Our child will be brilliant and terrifying and loved. She kissed him again, just like their parents. Inside the ballroom, the gala continued. Outside, Seoul glittered. And on a balcony suspended between earth and sky, Zara Patterson, now Kang Zara, held her husband close and felt absolutely, perfectly, violently happy. She'd fallen once. She'd risen stronger. And she was never, ever falling again. Epilogue. 1 year later, Zara stood in the nursery of their penthouse, rocking their daughter to sleep. Ae-cha, loving daughter in Korean, had her father's eyes and her mother's stubborn determination. At 3 months old, she already ruled the household with an iron fist. She's finally asleep, Zara whispered as Di-hyun appeared in the doorway. Thank God, she's scarier than half my associates. She gets that from you. She gets everything from you, including the ability to destroy me with one look. Zara carefully placed Ae-cha in her crib, which was probably bulletproof, knowing Di-hyun, and joined her husband in the doorway. Together they watched their daughter sleep, this perfect tiny human they'd created. Jae-young sent pictures from the new shelter opening, Di-hyun said softly. They named it Zara's Hope House. They what? The survivors voted. They wanted to honor you. He showed her his phone. The building was beautiful, modern, with gardens and playgrounds, a place of safety and second chances. Built with Devon's money. Perfect, Zara whispered. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I saw your speech. I saw what you built. I'm sorry for everything. Devon. Zara deleted it without responding. Devon didn't deserve her words, didn't deserve her energy, didn't deserve anything but the silence of complete irrelevance. She was done looking back. She had a husband who worshipped her, a daughter who was perfect, a family, chosen in blood, who'd go to war for her, a life that was messy and dangerous and absolutely hers. Devon Hartwell had kicked her in a mall and thought he'd won. Instead, he'd kicked off his own destruction and her complete triumph. The end. Or really, the beginning. The end. If you enjoyed Zara's journey from broken to unstoppable, from abandoned to absolutely thriving, please like and subscribe for more stories of women who refuse to stay down, who rise stronger, and who prove that the best revenge is living so well your enemies can't even comprehend it. Thank you for reading, and remember, you're never as powerless as someone wants you to believe. Rise, thrive, conquer.